Because that's the number one question any buyer asks.
Sure.
What is down payment assistance? How much is it in New Jersey? Who qualifies? What pluses and what disadvantages does it have?
So the primary down payment assistance loan I'm seeing going on in New Jersey right now is called New Jersey HMFA. Depending on the county and depending on whether or not you're a first generation buyer, which means your parents haven't owned a house in the last 3 years, you can get up to $22,000 towards down payment and closing cost assistance. Okay?
$22,000.
$22,000 as a first generation buyer in your high cost counties. Let's say Morris County.
Does your credit influence that in any way?
Your credit score doesn't influence the amount of down payment assistance you get. Your credit score will influence whether or not you can qualify for the down payment assistance.
For the loan. Mm-hmm.
Sure. That loan is, in theory, a fantastic loan. You're thinking that you're getting $22,000 for free. Well, you will get $22,000 for free, assuming you keep that loan for 5 years, because it's a silent second mortgage that sits behind your first mortgage. And a silent second mortgage just means there's no payment associated with it.
So after the 5 years, it's forgiven?
It's forgiven.
But there is always a but.
But there are caveats, okay?
Yeah.
So you have under New Jersey HMFA, you have conventional, you have FHA. There's 3 different actual products underneath New Jersey HMFA. And the one with the lowest interest rate is an FHA product, and it's your first-time home buyer product. There is a recapture tax on that product, meaning that if your income exceeds their product guideline...
Over the course of the 5 years?
No, it's a 9-year window.
9 years.
Yeah, so the recapture tax is 9 years, and it's income driven. So if you got into that house and your income was low, but 4 years into it, your income is way higher, you may be liable. If you sell that house, you may be liable for up to 6.625% of the purchase price or 50% of the gain on sale as a tax to the state.
There's the but.
There's the but.
Gosh, that's a big number, but.
That's a big but.
So you either stop increasing your income because you got that grant.
Or you keep the house for 9 years.
Or you keep the house for 9 years.
Yeah, but so much changes in 9 years, especially for a first-time home buyer.
And you would hope income would be the number one thing that changes.
Especially if you're 27, 28 years old, 9 years from now, you're going to be 36, 37. Yeah. I will tell you, my income tripled from the time I was 27 till the time I was 36.
Okay, so with that, so say you don't want to go that route, right? The but is too risky. Your parents love you. Can your parents gift you the money for a down payment?
100% on a primary residence. They can give you 100% of the proceeds for down payment and closing. So, butter up your parents, guys.
Mom and dad have to love you, and then you're good to go.
Right. Well, mom and dad also have to have the financial means.
Mom and dad also probably have a butt. It's just probably a little different than the government's butt.
Okay, here's the question. How much should I not spend on a house?
How much should you not spend on a house?
I know that people are pre-approved for much higher than they are comfortable paying.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you are a primary example of this, so I'm going to use you as an example. Darina loves to travel, right? Darina loves to go out to fancy restaurants. She loves to socialize. She loves to do things with her money. So for her, being on the high end of a debt-to-income ratio would be tragic because it would really
change my lifestyle.
It would 100% change your lifestyle. Now, there's people that all they want to do is sit in their home, right? That's what they like. They want to come home. They want to stay in their house. They don't go out. They don't spend any money. They don't like to travel. They don't do this. They're more comfortable spending more on the higher end of their debt-to-income ratio, which cuts off at 50% of your gross income on a conventional. So to give you an idea, if you made $10,000 a month, which is $120,000 a year, and you had no debt, zero, you could spend $5,000 a month on a mortgage.
And that's gross income. It's before taxes.
Correct. So that's a wild number to me.
That is. Like when you're making 10 grand and then you're given at least 20% for taxes, you're left with 8. From 8 to give 5,000 towards...
That's not counting, your car payments,
nothing.
Credit cards,
That's
anything,
insane.
dinner,
anything. So turning on the lights, keeping the house warm, cutting the grass. It doesn't count any of that.
So do you think that it's risky for the lender to pre-approve people for such high number Meaning they would buy it and then they would go in default because they can't keep up those payments.
The higher the debt to income ratio, the higher the risk,
Yeah.
right? There's no way to sugarcoat it. I will say this, that most first-time home buyers that are going to get pre-approved towards the higher end of their debt to income ratio, they may be looking at, okay, well, right now I'm making X number of dollars, but I know in 6 months.
I'll make more.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, what are you seeing personally with your clients in the Sussex County, Morris County market?
Mm-hmm.
How are the income to buying broken up? Like, how's that broken up for you?
So the debt, like my percentage of high debt to income versus low debt to income to middle debt to income?
Yeah, like, are we seeing people who are buying $500,000 houses, they're putting 10% down, but they still have $30,000 in the bank, or are we seeing much tighter margins?
We are seeing compressed margins, but I'm also seeing younger people with more savings.
They're smarter.
Well, they don't move out.
People are living with their parents
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
So we can say on our part what the typical portrait of a first-time home buyer on your end. What is the typical portrait of a home buyer? Because they released the recent information that a typical home buyer in New Jersey is like 36 years old. First-time home buyer.
You know, I've been seeing a lot of birthdays, upper 90s, low 2000s, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was graduating high
nice.
school at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So I am seeing that the younger generation is getting married younger. So we have dual incomes coming in their 20s, which I didn't see a lot of even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm also seeing that they never moved out. So their combined income is solid and they're living with their parents.
So they can save more.
Their
Yeah.
savings are fantastic and their credit is fantastic.
Nice. So smart people.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, listen, I moved out when I was 20.
Yeah.
Right.
But for rent, right?
For rent,
Like,
yeah. I rented all over the place. I rented in Hoboken, I rented in Florida, I rented in Morristown. I was all over the place. So I didn't buy my first house until I was 32 years old.
Yeah, I was 31.
So then when you're dealing with these people, when they come in and they say, me and my wife are making $220,000 a year, we want to buy the $700,000 house. What's your reaction to this situation? Because I'm noticing first-time homebuyers are now wanting to not buy the first house,
Like
and then
not
have
buy
to
the
level
small
up.
one,
They
but
want to
go
just
high.
go right to, hey, we're going to spend 10 or 15 years here.
Well, I have that conversation with the buyers, right? So when you brought up the buyer's consultation, when these people come in and they sit down with me and they say, hey, I want to spend $700,000 on a house, I have $100,000 to put down, we make $200,000 combined. Can you qualify us? We have no debt. Absolutely. But I want you to realize that what is your life projection, right? And I start having these conversations with clients. What are you going to do? Are you both going to work? Are you planning on children? Are you thinking about daycare for the children? Is that something you've considered? Right now, neither one of you have a car payment, right? So you both have paid off cars. That could change, right? So I can give you a $6,000 mortgage payment on a $200,000 income, no questions asked. But
okay, so
projecting that out, is that a good decision for you?
Yeah.
And ultimately, I don't think it's the best decision unless their income is going to go from 200 to 300, right?
Because life happens.
yeah.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Anything can happen at that point.
Right. And you're right. I do see a lot of those people that come in with the big eyes and they want to go get the big house right away and they just want to do it. I just want this huge, huge house.
Yeah.
And I try to tell them, like, I will do whatever you ask of me, right? I'm going to show you the numbers. I'm going to explain everything. I will tell you in real life things are different than what I'm going to show you on the computer screen, right? Because you buy a $700,000 house and the heating system goes, instead of it being $15,000, it might be $25,000 because it's a bigger house, right? You need a new roof, instead of being $10,000 or $15,000, it might be $20,000 or $25,000, right? So all of these things you have to take into consideration when you're going to a house like that. That's why I like when first-time home buyers come to me and say, you know what, we're going to start here, we're going to live here 3, 5, 7 years, and then we're going to move up to the next one, because you really need to dip your foot in the water to understand what the cost of ownership is on a house, and doing it on a grand scale before doing it on a more comfortable scale can be risky.
I think we have that conversation all the time with buyers because they don't take into account utilities, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
if your
and
gas
the
bill's
repairs
$400
and-
now, when you go into that 2,500 square foot home, your gas payment might be $1,000 a month. And
Listen.
they're not factoring that.
I'm dealing with that right now in my own home, right? My average utilities in the dead of winter for heat, electric, it's $1,000. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? So, and if you're paying 30% in taxes, in income taxes, right? How much do you have to make to bring home $1,000 just to turn on the lights and keep the house warm?
Yep.
Right? So these are all things that I try to walk them through when we do the buyer's consultation so they have a good understanding of what it costs to own the house, right?
So I think in New Jersey right now, the first-time home buyer, like the minimum house you can get is $300,000. Like there is nothing under there that would be livable. So how much money do you have to make to qualify for a $300,000 home?
Well, assuming you have no debt, like 0, 0, 0.
Assuming, yeah.
Okay. And how much money are you going to put down?
Let's say 5% down.
Okay. And that means you have zero
5%
debt.
5% down on 300,000 is 15,000 plus closing costs. You'll be looking at about 25 to 30, right? So let's say they have that saved.
Okay. So let's say they have 30 grand in the bank. I'm going to use probably 25 to 27 plus whatever you guys do for inspection. So let's say 28 to 29 of that 30,000 just to put them in the house. Assuming we don't do any seller's concessions. That means they only have $1,000 left. Do you think that's a good financial decision? Right?
No, how much do they need to make?
How much do they need to make?
Yeah.
Hold on. 56,000. 56, 57,000.
So with 60,000, you can qualify with 5% down and some closing costs. You can qualify for a $300,000 home.
Yes, you can.
Assuming you have no debt.
Correct.
But we could all agree, terrible decision.
Yes, absolutely.
Terrible financial decision.
The only reason I would even consider doing that for somebody that's making 60,000 is if they have a partner or somebody that's going to come live in the house, they can't go on the loan for some reason.
Well, or if they're paying a rent that's already as high.
Correct.
Because then you know they're at least making the payment.
Right. There's a lot of non-qualifiable income that exists in first-time home buyers, right? So, for instance, if I'm qualifying somebody and they have a W-2 job and they work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then Fridays, Saturdays, they go and bartend and they make another $500 a night, right? I can't qualify that income because it's just cash and they're just stuffing it in their pocket. That is a massive offsetter where I'd say, okay, well, you're making an extra $1,000, $2,000, $2,500 a month.
That you can keep your lights on at least.
Correct. And if you're a first-time home buyer and you're a little bit younger, I will say that if you're comfortable living with somebody, right, and you're buying a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Hopatcong that costs $300,000, the taxes are $4,800, right, and you're going to have a $2,000 mortgage payment, well, maybe you can get a friend to come live in the house with you and pay you $800, $900, $1,000 a month, and then your mortgage payment is much less. Now
and that's a great first step into a bigger house. The next house,
Correct. And honestly, it's if you're paying $1,000 a month for the mortgage, and the other person's paying $1,000, and you got to come up with, let's say, $500 or $600 for utilities. It's like owning a garden apartment, but at least you're building equity. You're getting the tax write-off from the interest, right? And it's
taxes too.
Yeah. And the property taxes are tax deductible, right? The new SALT cap is 40 grand.
What are the 3 things that will ruin your pre-approval or like make you unqualifiable for a mortgage?